Sixers lose to the Celtics in blowout fashion in game one, 123-91. Ugly start in the playoffs for the 76ers. I don't have a good feeling the rest of the way. I am Coy Camiscioli from Philly Sports Talk to break down everything about this game for you. And I'm just disappointed. I really am. I just wanted competitive basketball from the 76ers in this series. And who knows? Maybe that could happen. Maybe that could happen in the last couple games of this series. But I had a feeling they weren't going to win. From the beginning, I said they're not going to win this series. Obviously anything can happen. And whenever the ball is tipped off, I always, start to get a little belief in me. But it's just how it is with the 76ers. I'm a big believer in an organization being able to create their own luck. And the 76ers, sometimes getting lucky is good, but you do create your own luck. The last 8 years in different scenarios and situations, they just don't help themselves out. And nothing was new in this game. I'm going to break down all of that. All their weaknesses and flaws are just going to get exposed, and they were already exposed in this game from top down, from ownership, head coach, players, everything. It's just exposed, and it's exposed badly. So the Sixers, they lost all 4 quarters in this game, meaning they got outscored in all 4 quarters. I'm going to give my game notes from each quarter. These are just all little things I wrote down that was kind of interesting. So, first of all, it's worth noting right now that the Celtics, they're number 1 ranked defense since February. And I'm going to get to that in a second as to why that's so important. But in that first quarter, Dembona, he picked up 2 very quick fouls, and he got subbed out within the first 2 minutes of the game. So he got the start over Drummond. Neemias Queta, he got his second foul 3.5 minutes into the game, which at the time was a big thing. Obviously the game wasn't a blowout yet, and that's a big player for them who's given us some tough times on the glass and on offense for the 76ers. That meant something. The Celtics, they go up 15-7. We call timeout, and this is right away when I said that no plays are being ran and no shots are being made. So going back to the Celtics and their defensive statistic, the 76ers, and I've been saying it all year long, they have a lot of talent on the team, but Nick Nurse we don't run plays, guys. We do not run plays on offense. And if we do, it's little toddler crap that anybody could pretty much make in their own playbook. It's honestly a shame. And I seriously challenge you guys, if you think I'm just spurting this out of my mouth just to say stuff to sound smart, just watch our offensive possessions and then watch Boston run an offense. It's miles over what the 76ers do. It's actually unbelievable. The Sixers, they just run iso ball. They'll set the occasional pick occasional pick and roll every possession. But then when it doesn't work, there's just 4 guys standing behind the 3-point line and one guy's trying to make some magic. Guys, when you're going up against the number 1 ranked defense since February and just the number 2 seed in the East that runs a very good offense, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You're going to have to get lucky in order to win, and especially when you're missing your best player, it's just not going to happen. That's why they don't stand a chance in this series. They're not going to win 2 games. If they win 2 games, that would be a miracle. But that's the truth. That's the truth. That's the difference between good and bad basketball teams, and you can watch it between these 2 organizations on a play-to-play basis. So it's just infuriating to watch. Nick Nurse was touted as this amazing coach in Toronto, and I've challenged myself recently. I kind of want to go back and watch some of those playoff games in that 2019 Raptors run to see if it was always like this. But it's just embarrassing. The Sixers, there's no plan on offense. And even Shaquille O'Neal said something about it at halftime, talking about how the Sixers look like they're just playing basketball without a plan. And that's truly what it looks like. So getting off that, the Celtics are going a 14-2 run in that first quarter. And 7 minutes into the game, both Dembona and Andre Drummond both have 2 fouls. So now we're forced to roll out Dominic Barlow at center for the time being. At the end of the first, the Celtics lead 33-18. Second quarter, Andre Drummond, he picks up a technical foul, arguing calls, which is just stupid. We continue to not hit our shots, and they're still just running plays around our defense. We can't get stops. We can't hit a 3. We can't hit a free throw. And we go into halftime trailing 64-46. We shot 2 of 16 from beyond the 3-point line in the first half. So, not good. That third quarter, we had a decent start to the quarter. We shaved off like 7 or 8 points on that lead. which is like the exact opposite of what the Sixers did all regular season. Yet we still couldn't make an open three. And this was the possession that absolutely sealed it. I mean, we knew the game was already over, but this sealed it for good. You get a stop. So remember, you're in the midst of a good run here. You already shaved a couple points off that big deficit. You get a stop. You throw it away in transition, and then they hit a three. And then you go down in less than 8 seconds on the shot clock, take a contested mid-range jumper after not calling a play, and then they come back down and hit a three. So the deficit that was 15 that you shaved 8 points off of is now back to 21 points in the matter of 20 seconds. Man, that is terrible. That is absolutely terrible. And in the moment, I was fuming, yelling at my television. I've waited a handful of hours to record on this, so it's kind of cooled down a little bit. But those are possessions that just cannot happen. And funny enough, I talked about stuff like this in the previous podcast after the Sixers beat the Magic, and yes, I was happy they beat the Magic, but it was plays like this that weren't going to fly, and it did not fly. And it's just embarrassing. These sequences can't happen for a championship team. The Sixers, they aren't a championship team anyway, but it's just a shame. So everything unraveled on the back end of this quarter, and seemingly right after that sequence of plays, we go into the fourth trailing 95-71. In that fourth quarter, we are down 30 points less than 3 minutes into it, and Boston's pulling their starters with 7 minutes and 16 seconds left in the fourth. It's absolutely pathetic. It's a poorly ran organization. Nick Nurse doesn't know what he's doing. Josh Harris is in the Epstein files, and he's an absolute loser. And yeah, guys, that's the story for it. I mean, this team shot 17% from three in this game, guys. They hit 4 3-pointers, 4 of 23 from three. That's just embarrassing. A lot of those were not contested either. And a team of Boston's shooting caliber, the way they shoot the three ball and how much they shoot it in volume too, you just cannot afford to shoot 17%, let alone on just 23 attempts. Boston had 44 attempts from beyond the arc. They knocked down 16, which was good for 36%, which honestly isn't even their best night. So, just pathetic from top down. Tyrese Maxey was the leading scorer with 21 points, 8 of 20 from the field. He had 8 assists. Nothing too crazy for him. Paul George was an excellent scorer with 17 points, 4 of 8 from the field for him, 4 rebounds, an assist. Other than that, guys, there's nothing too notable on this box score. It's just pathetic all around. Edgecombe had a bad shooting night. He was 0 for 5 from 3, 6 of 16 from the field overall, with just 13 points. And it was bad for the 76ers. It's disappointing. I mean, I didn't expect them to win, but I didn't expect them to go down this pathetically in Game 1, to say the least. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they combined for 51 points, shooting pretty efficiently as well. And the Celtics overall, they just dominated us. There's not much more to it. And the last thing, this was something that's hurt the 76ers for years, especially in the playoffs. It's seemingly something I always have to talk about in this podcast because it's always a problem. Even though the Celtics only have 5 offensive rebounds, there was a lot of different possessions where like they got tips on the offensive glass and then were a little, rambunctious to try and grab the ball. I don't know if that's the right word for that. And then we kick it out of bounds or something like that. It's just little things where the Sixers were outhearted in this. I don't even know that's a word, but it makes sense in this case by the Celtics. So I don't know what the answer is going to be, guys. Our only hope is if Joel Embiid pops a questionable for Game 3 or Game 4, which I don't think that's going to happen. The word is, one of the reporters said that he hasn't resumed basketball activity, so I have to imagine he's not coming back in this round, which means the rest of the 76ers season. So, other than that, any other notable stat lines? Kelly Oubre, 10 points, nothing really for him. He was 0 for 5 from 3, just like VJ Edgecombe. Off the bench, significant minutes for Barlow, Drummond, and Quinn Grimes, but they all 3 of them kind of sucked in their own way. Nothing really too interesting on any of those guys. Quinn Grimes has been very underwhelming. He wasn't awful in this game, but just not much of a presence in 25 minutes. 7 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a couple turnovers. Just a shame. I firmly believe that this season was lost when the Sixers traded Jared McCain. I firmly believe that, and it's just been a downhill spiral ever since. But that's going to do it, guys. I'm not going to keep it on a tangent on these things. That's all my game notes, everything from this game. Pathetic loss from the 76ers. They just got torched defensively, and on offense, they just didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to run. They didn't run anything, if I'm being honest. So, game 2 is on Tuesday at 7 o'clock, I believe. I'll fact check that real fast. I would not really expect a different result, but if somehow they find a way to turn this around and win game 2, then we can start to get on that train again. But as of now, there's nothing really to look forward to on Tuesday. The game's at 7 o'clock. I will be watching, and I will be back to recap another game. So, peace, guys, and hopefully we get a different result on Tuesday.